changing of seasons can affect how you feel. 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. Visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. As I said, we were expecting 25 people have booked. We've got only 3 people here at the moment, but hopefully a few more people might arrive in the next few minutes. If they do, I will definitely let them in. So welcome anyway. Some people sometimes book these things and decide to listen to the recording and so on, which I'll send out later today. So as I say, thank you for being here, thank you for your time, and I want to promise that I'll do my best to make sure that your time here today is well worthwhile. So just a brief introduction. Basically today we're looking at how to turn your website into a lead creating website. I speak to so many people about their website, and they often say to me things like, well, you know, my website's just a brochure site. I don't expect to win any business from it. And to be honest, I just think that's just an excuse for not doing anything, because often the reason they don't win business is because they don't put any effort into doing so. They might have a website, but having a website is one thing. Turning it into a lead creating website is a slightly different thing, and it takes some ongoing effort, which I'm going to talk to you about today. So I'm going to do a presentation that's going to last about 20 minutes. After that, we've got a roundtable discussion, which means it's not just about you asking me questions, but you coming in with your experience and, you know, trying to help others with any questions that you've got. So if you can come up with some questions, that would be really, really useful. And at the end, or even during, you're very welcome to book a one-to-one meeting with me. Even if you're not here and you're listening to the recording, you can book a one-to-one meeting with me to talk about your business. And I want to be clear, it's not a sales meeting for me. It's me genuinely trying to help you with your marketing. And you can do that at my website, which is steve-mills.com. So feel free to do that. So I want to just kick off before we sort of start by going through what I call the Results Mastery 5 Steps to Business Growth. Now, just to be absolutely honest with you, where I got this from, I actually pinched it in a way from a guy called Daniel Priestley. It's in his book, which I fully recommend, called The Key Person of Influence. And the reason I really endorse that is that I think it's a great little system for you to think about. It basically involves, I think Daniel calls it the 5 C's for obvious reasons. And the first one is crowd development. One of the things that you and I suffer with in small businesses is obscurity. We're not known by enough people. We need to know more people in our business, and we've got to constantly look at ways we can grow our crowd, be that on LinkedIn, be it our email system, be it through advertising, Facebook, whatever it is. We need to get to know more people, and one of the ways that people do go and check us out these days is 1, to have a look at our website, and 2, to have a look at our LinkedIn profile. I think that's pretty true almost universally, certainly in the B2B market, but also in the B2C market. Probably along with that, I'd say, sites like Trustpilot and Google, getting recommended on Google and so on and so forth. So once we've done that, the next step is to capture visitors. We've got to get their information. I believe, one of the big problems that I see so often is that people, drive people to a website that is just a sales site. All it's got on there is, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? And it's trying to sell to strangers, people who've only just come to this website, and they very easily get put off and leave the site. I see that all the time when I use Google Analytics and see bounce rates up at like 60, 70, 80%. That means 60 to 80% of the time, people are arriving on a website and bouncing off. They're not actually going and having a look round because the site's just purely sales based. We've got to then convert that into leads. If we get visitors and maybe we get people to sign up for something or to give their contact details, and we're only going to get a percentage of those, but perhaps that's 10%, something like that, then we've got to start and think about our conversion strategy. What are we going to do to get people to convert? We can then look at how can we get that easy first sale. There's a guy I know called, what's his name? Tom McGrath, sorry, and he has a lovely little system on his website where he offers things at basically ridiculously low amount. So he'll have things like a video program on how to use your business on how to grow your business on YouTube. And he'll be selling that, saying, right, it's normally £300 or dollars actually, and now you can get it for 10. And I found out from him that he's selling like 2,000 copies of that per month, which is not a bad start, is it? 2,000 times $10, and then selling 20% of those people into his $2,000 coaching program. So, he's doing really, really well. So get that easy first sale. We then want to get continuity. We want to get people to buy again and again and again. And we'll talk about that as we go through things. So the two keys, I believe, to website success are these: traffic and conversion. That's the whole ball of wax, as it were. It's not about how pretty the website is, whether it looks great. Those things matter, of course, but ultimately what you need to do is you need to get more people to visit your site, and you need to get your site to convert more. There's no point getting a load of people to a website that doesn't convert, because you're still going to end up with nothing. So the number one thing you could argue is conversion. I don't know how many people are coming to your website, and I suspect for everybody it's going to be different. But if you're using something like Google Analytics, you'll be able to know how many people. And then if you start implementing some of the ideas that I'm going to share with you in a minute, you'll get more people to your site, undoubtedly. But you'll also need to work on your conversion rate. So traffic and conversion are the two things we're going to look at. We'll look at traffic first. Now, where are you going to get traffic from? Well, there's a whole variety of suspects here, isn't there? But I'd say, I love that saying. I think it's from a song, isn't it? It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. That's what gets results. I forget who it was now. Was it Funboy 3, I think? But it is so...
Was it not Bananarama?
Bananarama, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. And, it's so true. Often in marketing, it's not that the marketing doesn't work, whatever it is, whatever you're doing. I hear people all the time, they tell me, well, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't really win any business from it. Well, why? There's got to be something wrong with what you're doing, because some people do. Or, I've got a website, but, it doesn't really win me any business. Well, why? Why is that? What is it we're doing that's not working? Because that's such an important thing. So let's go through some ideas. Yes, we should be posting on social media. I think pretty much most people do. But do you know what most people do? The answer is very little. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk the other day. I don't know whether listeners know of Gary, but he's an amazing guy, hugely successful, probably one of the world's leading business coaches, marketing experts, and so on and so forth. Now, Gary says that if you're not posting 10 to 20 times a day on social media, you're not doing enough. Now, for me, that's a phenomenal amount. I was like, OMG, I can't believe he's recommending that many. But what I do recommend is that you need to be doing it every day. You know, you need to be going down the LinkedIn gym every day and doing something, you know, building that muscle called winning business on LinkedIn, you know, and if you just do a bit, guess what results you get? Probably none, in truth. If you do what most people do, you don't really do very well. That's the truth. So wherever you are, if you're in the mindset that, you know, well, I post once per week on LinkedIn because I don't want to bombard people, which I've heard so many times, rest assured you're not bombarding anybody. You know, I'm on there, you know, probably about 2, 3, 4, 5-ish times per day posting away, and I'd like to bet you I'm not bombarding you because you're not seeing most of it. You know, I've got 11,500 people now connected to me on LinkedIn, but when I do a post, that's typically seen by 500 people. So what's happened to the other 11,000? They're not actually on LinkedIn today reading my post. And so I need to do this on a regular basis. The same way with groups. You know, I'm in a group and it's got 500,000 members. You know, but if my post gets seen by 1,000 or 2, I'm more than happy. And that's pretty much like in the good old days when, you know, I started out 28 years ago and I sent 1,000 letters out through the post. 950 of them were probably thrown in the bin and never actually read by the person they were intended for. 50 got read. I got 30 inquiries. You know, that resulted in 15 people coming on my workshop. And that's how I ran my business. So, you know, really, really powerful opportunity there that we've got these days to actually know what's working and what's not. Next thing, newsletters. You know, newsletters are fantastic on LinkedIn in particular right now. I got a newsletter and I've been encouraging my clients to get them, and one guy, a guy called Mike Wilkinson, set up his newsletter, and literally as soon as he did a post and got 250 subscribers straight away. Next week he did another post, he got another 250. Week after, same thing happened. He's now got, I think, just over 1,000 people who all subscribe to his newsletter so he can get a marketing message out to 1,000 strangers every single week. Really, really powerful. Events. I would say this to you, the more people you can get to go to your website in order to attend events, the better. The more people you speak to, the more money will end up in your bank. I think that is just a law of business, a law of marketing. Even in this modern digital marketing age where, you know, all things are online, you know, it's still the best way for me, that I believe anyway, based on 28 years of experience, is to combine modern digital marketing with the good old-fashioned stuff. You know, like picking up the phone and talking to people, meeting people, running an event, you know, albeit these days a lot more events are like this one, which are online, you know, so we don't have to travel for an hour and find somewhere to park and so on and so forth. And we can do it easily and quickly these days. So there's 4 ways you can do it. Next one, email. I see so many people tell me, I don't really do email marketing. Why on earth not? You know, can you tell me a better way of getting messages out to lots of people, lots of customers, past customers, prospects, networking contacts and so on than email marketing? Because I've never found one. Not really. Particularly, you know, you can do it for virtually nothing or sometimes for nothing at all. If you've got a smallish database, less than 1,000 people, you can sign up to something like HubSpot, you get on there free, and you can send emails out to people. The key for that, like all things, you know, it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. That's what gets results. So you need to be good at it. You know, you need to get some training in it, possibly. You need to do it on a regular basis. I'm not talking about a quarterly newsletter. You know, save your breath, save your time. That's probably not going to work. So we need to get in touch with people on a regular basis. No better way than email. You can use email to provide weekly advice, tips, not just selling. It's not just about, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy something else? People are going to get fed up with that, particularly if you're emailing to prospects or strangers, people that don't yet know, like, and trust you. It's about building that reputation up. So we can do that through weekly advice, tips, information. A little bit like I'm doing now, you know, providing advice. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm just providing advice and trying to help. You can do event invites. Great way of doing it. Inviting people to a free event. You know, whilst, right now there's only 3 people on it. Doesn't really matter, because I know I've got 26 leads as a result of today. You know, not hot leads, not people who are going, I need to meet up to buy your stuff, Steve. But I'm taking people down that journey from a level where they don't know me, they've never met me, they've never listened to me, perhaps. I know some of you here today have. But the point being that they're starting down that process. And hopefully, when they watch the video, they think, you know, Steve seems a decent guy. He knows his stuff. He's provided me with some ideas that would help me. And perhaps I ought to book that meeting with Steve to see, talk to him about my marketing and what we've been doing. So events are brilliant. They're also a great way of getting people to your website. So I go onto LinkedIn and say, hi everyone, just to let you know, I'm running an event. This is what it's called. This is when it is. If you want to find out more, go to my website. And just to give you some figures around that, I get over 1,000 people per month purely from LinkedIn without spending a penny on LinkedIn. Okay, so if you compare that with Google advertising, for example, that might cost you £2 a click, that would cost you £2,000, and I'm getting it for nothing. Okay, so definitely an opportunity there. The same would apply to the next two, really, which is blogging and video. If you've not got a blog on your website, you know, now's a good time to get one, so that you can really start to drive traffic. So again, I go onto LinkedIn, I say, hi everyone, or maybe I'm use email marketing. Either way, hi everyone, just to let you know, I've just written a new blog post. It's called The 5 Things You Need to Do to Improve Your Open excuse me, to improve your open rates of your email marketing. And I'll give them 5 tips and then have some sort of call to action. But generally speaking, the call to action is going to be to go to my website, to progress them again down that sales pipeline, getting them more into watching me, listening to me, reading me, and so on. Basically creating that level of know, like, and trust, and that's really, really powerful. Okay, the next one then, SEO, search engine optimization. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, I don't know anything about that, Steve. I'm not an SEO expert. And without wishing to decry SEO experts, there is a lot of SEO, search engine optimization, that we can do ourselves. We don't need to be experts. You can do on-page SEO. What is that about? Well, I haven't really got time to go through that in detail today. But, you know, perhaps if we book a meeting, I can talk you through what you need to do in terms of SEO that you can do yourself. You don't need to pay somebody to do, your on-page SEO. Off-page SEO, even easier. What's that about? I can tell you that because it's really quick. All you do is create links from high credibility websites. That's really not everything, but it's a good start. So if you go on to YouTube, upload a video of yours, and then underneath it, paste, if you want to know more from me, go to my website and put a link in there. That's a high credibility and relevant website. YouTube, second biggest search engine in the world, and you've got a link already coming from that website into yours. Another way is to go to Google and type in business directories or business directories UK or something like that, and you can upload your details into that business directory. There's also a fantastic book that I'd strongly recommend you buy. It's called They Ask, You Answer. It's by a guy called, I think it's Mike Michalowski. Apologies, Mike, if you listen and I've pronounced your name wrong, but it's something like that. Honestly, it's one of the best books that you can buy, not only on SEO, but on digital marketing in general. So that's definitely worth it. And lastly there, pay-per-click advertising. So if you don't want to, put the time in, you got to put the money in. And you can use, anything from search engine, pay-per-click, Google, you can advertise on there, you can get traffic to your website, and you can get that set up and working this afternoon. Literally in a few hours, you can have your pay-per-click advertising up and working and absolutely fine. And you could use social media pay-per-click advertising, which works a little bit different than Google in so much that rather than waiting for people to click on your advert following a search, it's you searching for them. So you could go on to LinkedIn, for example, and say to LinkedIn, right, show this advert to these people based on geography, based on job title, based on the company they work for, or the industry they work in, or the size of business. So if I wanted to target accountants who work for companies employing at least 20 people who are in Birmingham, who have the job title of accountant or senior accountant or managing director or partner in an accountancy practice, because I want to run a workshop in Birmingham for accountants, I could just do that. And the good thing is I only pay per click. So if that advert doesn't work, guess how much it costs me? Nothing. Absolutely zero. So, this is a fantastic tool for anybody to use in business, and I strongly recommend that you take a look at that. So that's really my presentation over with. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on my podcast and turn that off. But for the rest of you, I'm going to open up to a Q&A. So just bear with me a second.